excited.
Quiet the whole time.
We're live.
Okay.
All right, guys. And if you guys want to obviously tag you guys. So if you guys want to take the moment, if you haven't already, you can share the broadcast from my page. If you want to. So you guys, as everybody comes in and say, hey, I'm really excited. This is going to be really interesting. This is the first time I've ever done a panel on StreamYard. So like, this is really, you guys are ushering in a whole new way of how this show is potentially going to get done. So this is really exciting.
This is exciting.
I love it.
So, and I'm excited that we're actually going to do something that I have dreamt of since I started podcasting, which was women coming on and having like legitimate conversations about what is actually going on versus all the like fluffy stuff that sometimes gets talked about. Like, let's have like real conversations. So as you guys come in, say hey. I'm going to pay attention for comments. I'm so excited, you guys. Tonight is a whole new show of the TUF Woman Table. And depending on how this goes, I would definitely love to host more of these panels where you guys come on and people right now, women, where we're at and discuss what is going on in our lives and how are we working through things like obviously the COVID-19, the coronavirus, which we're going to touch on. It's like, how are we moving through that in a way that we are acknowledging what is going on in the world, but what are we doing to also show up to help move us forward in the same sense. I don't know about y'all, but my dad told me when we were little, like once you understand what the problem is, the next piece of it is to figure out like what is the solution. So maybe it's just right now is what is the solution for Alyssa? You can probably speak on this, and Cheney as well. What's the solution for parents who are stuck at home with their kids right now? And this is like way out of their space.
Yeah.
Like I know you're going to touch a little bit on anxiety. It's like, what can we do as a collective to help with that overall like massive amount of anxious energy that's going on right now? So as you guys jump in, I'm going to make sure to pay attention to the comments. Say hey, let us know where you're coming from. If you guys have questions, want to jump in. So this is a dialogue for everybody. And then if you catch us on the replay, #replay. I ask that if you love this show so much, please share it. The more we get out there, the more people will be able to start conversations of their own. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into my intro and I'm going to let these wonderful, amazing women introduce themselves. So hello and welcome to the TUF Woman Table, you guys. And the beautiful part is I have said that to all three of you on your own shows. So this is a table where I invite some super badass tough women to take a seat, join in on the conversation or create a conversation, which we are about to do, and share their amazing stories. So at TUF Woman, I believe that all women have the power within themselves to live life authentically, free from fear, confident in who they are, and empowered to go out and get whatever success looks like to them. So I share this belief by championing tough women who have walked through the fire, felt the fear, faced adversity, and kept pushing through it all. Women who now live the life they want as the woman they were created to be, and women who own their stories, so that other women can own and embrace theirs as well. Because as we all know, as I always say, when you give yourself permission to own and share your story, you give someone else permission in the same breath. And Deborah says, hey ladies, this is why I love this.
Oh, we can see it on the screen.
I'm gonna give a training on how to do a show like this so everybody can do this. Like no joke. I think everybody. This is so Becky says, hey ladies. All right, so guys, keep commenting as you come in, interact. I'm going to let these ladies introduce themselves. I'm going to start from bottom over, if that's good. So, Emily.
That's good.
All right. Emily, if you will introduce yourself first, and then we'll let the other ladies introduce themselves.
Absolutely. I'm super excited to be here on your show for the second time. I just love everything that you do. You are just such an embodiment of empowerment and such a good example as a leader, and I just love you. So had to give you that reflection. I'm Emily James. I am a spiritual business coach. I help women who are struggling to step into their spiritual gifts and be the coach, be the spiritual coach, or be the spiritual teacher, be spiritual thought leader, whatever it is. I help them really add in some practicality. In today's age, it's like you sound crazy sometimes when you go into talking about spirituality, or that's how we feel in the beginning, is like, am I going crazy, or is this actually what I'm supposed to be doing? So I help people really step into that own that, add practicality and logic to it so that they don't feel disempowered by their external circumstances and things like that. So that's what I do. I absolutely fun.
That's such an amazing freeze frame. It's just like everything she was talking about, actually.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Hopefully she comes on. Oh, Emily, if you come back on, if you've frozen, just come back in. I'll let you back in. All right, on to the next. So, Alyssa, tell us a little bit about who you are and what do you do?
Yes. My name is Alyssa. God, I'm touching my face. I need to stop doing the touching of the face.
I feel you on that.
Crazy. So my name is Alyssa. I'm a life coach for moms. I work with moms who are trying to balance their lives so that they can do what makes them happy, pursue their passions. A lot of them have to find themselves first and then pursue their passions. And I just help walk them through that and get to a place where when they're done with me, when they're done working with me, that they are like running with a head start to whatever it is that makes them happy. But getting through whatever mom guilt that they have to go through before getting there, getting through the overwhelm of having 12 things going on at the same time while trying to get through there. And that's what I do with them. And I feel like right now is a perfect time for all of us to be having these conversations, because it's just like, all right, now is the time to really hone in on your gifts. Like what you were saying, Emily, like people who are super spiritual, just like, all right, you have no excuse. Really sit down and think about, is this really me? Is this like really the gift that I have? Like, this is so exciting. But anyway, that's what I do.
Emily, it cut off. You're like, I fucking love it. And you're like, yes. It was like the most epic freeze frame. That's what you're saying. You're like, you could see it. You could see that you loved it so much. It was
That
like,
is so funny.
You know, most people get that freeze frame of like this very
Goodness, it came in.
So that's where that cut off. So I was like, forever and always, all of that.
I was like, wait, where did everyone go? Is it me? Okay, I'll fix my Wi-Fi.
But before we go into Cheney, I think you said you just effing love it, or fucking love it. So if you want to finish what you're saying, that way everybody's got theirs ready.
I think I was saying I just fucking love what I do, and that's, I feel like all of us in this industry love what we do, and this is a really, like Alyssa was just saying, like, this is the time. There is no better time than this right now to step into our gifts and to be having these conversations, to be stepping out into the world and owning our shit, because people really need us. And we can obviously go into this later. I'm not meaning to get like into it in the intros, but I feel like this is really what a lot of people have been prepared for in the last few years, with all this inner work and all this crazy stuff that we're like, why am I being called to this? Well, this is why, because now we get to help a fucking globe of people really step into their power and really heal their anxiety or whatever it is, So yeah, that's where that left off.
And before we go into Cheney, Becky says silver lining. Now we have time to pursue the things we were too busy for before.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll take one perception from this, and I know this has helped me move through stuff. It's like I'm looking at it like the universe is making us chill out. Like I don't know if anybody else has gotten that from what has started like January. I was like super gung ho before January, and then January hit. It's like no, you are coming way back. Because they're like going back. And not in a bad way, but in the like, there was a lot of deep stuff that I wasn't dealing with that needed to be dealt with. And it's like, you got to deal with that first. So, all right. The last member of our quadruple group here, I was going to say trio, but Cheney, you will tell everybody about who you are and what it is you do. And we're going to roll right into so what is going on in our world right now?
Okay. Well, I am Cheney Fletcher, and I am the CEO at Fostering New Hope. I am an intuitive business coach. I help women really connect to who they are as an individual, whether they are a mom or not, in order to help them move forward to reach their version of success. everyone has their own version of success, but they don't realize that because they're too busy comparing themselves to others. So I help them take that step back and then really define what they want out of their lives and then help them get it.
You know, and it's because one thing that I feel like makes us all. Angela says this is cool. And this is momentous because Angela was part of the first show. Like, Angela has been with me since every single episode.
Oh, wow.
It's funny how we're all on here and we're all talking about the different phases of inner work we work with and we help our clients with. And it's kind of like, it's very similar to the inner work that we are being called to do right at this moment. It's like going back and figuring out who we really are and like what's the direction we're going in. So I guess I'll introduce myself. I don't feel like I need to do a long one, but for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm the mouth of this show. I own a coaching company, and I'm actually getting ready to be part of a trio called Trinity Women's Coaching, which is really, really, really neat. I'll be talking more about that in the next couple of weeks. But I am a women's mindset and business strategist. So I work primarily to help female entrepreneurs right now in the online space do this kind of stuff. Go live, speak their message, build their brand on their story, and help them overcome that so that they can become more profitable and visible in the online space. So that's equal parts strategy as well as mindset, because I always like to say I can give you all the strategy in the world. You have all the strategy at your hands, but if your mindset, like you guys are talking about, if your mindset is not matching that, if your subconscious does not back that up, you're not going to be able to accomplish the strategy that you deliver. Like, and I know that from very personal experience in my own life. Yeah. If your subconscious does not back up your mindset, it's, in fact, I'm reading a book called The New Psycho-Cybernetics, and it talks about if your subconscious does not agree with what you're trying to do, it's going to snap you back, and it's not going to push through a work order. So my goal is to help empower women, like you said, that empowerment to really go after what it is that's in their heart and what it is that they want to create, because that's how you create that change. And I think that what's beautiful is all of you ladies are in that space of doing that. So Carrie says, yeah, hey, Carrie. She's just like, yeah. All right, you guys. So this is the part of, because everybody obviously knows we're in the middle of one of the largest pandemics that's probably happened in our generations, easily, next to 9/11. And well, this is actually a pandemic versus like what happened at you guys, I want to take a moment to really give context to where everybody's at in the world so that we all have an understanding of like what everybody's going through, but so that we can move the discussion forward from like, what are you guys doing on that day-to-day basis? I know, Emily, you're going to talk a little bit about anxiety, like you said in the beginning, and I'm sure that Alyssa, you guys are going to talk about, you know, similar things, but really just how can we help move the collective forward and not fall into that fear and that overwhelming anxiety that is plaguing us right now. So, if we want to start off like we went, Emily, if you just want to tell us like what is going on in your side of the world right now, seriously.
Yeah. So we started talking about Target earlier and how Alyssa was able to find toilet paper. There is no toilet paper at my Target. There is no toilet paper at my H-E-B. There's none at Kroger. There is none anywhere. And we were able to. I was able to find some wipes, so that was great, like the Kleenex ones. Anywho, so we're all definitely like. I think that it's a little. I'm here in Houston, Texas, so it's a little different than. Like New Jersey or New York, and how Colorado also, where they're having like everything is shutting down. They're not really doing that here. Some of the gyms are shut down completely. Some of the bars and restaurants, they chose to do that, but they weren't like they didn't have to necessarily. Some places are delivering. So it definitely, we're still, obviously everyone is encouraged to quarantine and like social distance, all of those things. What I feel like the majority of people around me are experiencing is this fear and panic of everything that's going to change. So there is no going back now. The economy, everything is changing. The systems, I can even add a little bit about astrology here in a little bit if you want to get into that. Saturn is entering Aquarius on March 21st. And from that, in the 3 months that it's going to be there, we're really planting the seeds right now for change of 2021. So that's going to be a while from now, but we're really entering that Aquarian age of social change, community, really collaboration. Something I talk about leadership-wise for what's happening in the industry and what change this is going to bring in the industry. So with that, I feel like, there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear coming up around like, okay, well, what I've heard some of my clients saying is like, how are people supposed to pay me if like people can't pay them? And then, it's this ripple effect and this chain that the industry is experiencing. Well, what I told them is I said, you don't have to worry as long as you are being authentic, you are aligned, and you are facing this fear and not ignoring it or suppressing it or covering it up with positivity and, optimism or whatever, if that's not actually what you feel energetically aligned with right now. If you don't want to put out positive vibes right now, don't force yourself to do that. Whatever signals your body is bringing, we've talked about this before actually, anxiety is your body giving you a signal that something is not right at the moment. And something needs to be looked at. It's not like, you're bad or that you need to judge yourself for having anxiety right now or that you need to judge yourself for having fear because, of course, this is a global emergency. Like, everyone's going to have a little bit of fear. This is fucking normal. But our safety is being tested. Like, the way we feel safe in our bodies, how we feel is really shown out into the world right now. The systems we're being shown. Everything is kind of like flowing out. So bear with me. I'm going everywhere. But you know how I get, Ashley. But everything that I feel like the past 6 years that I've been coaching that I have felt fucking crazy about in my head is coming up to the surface and everyone else is seeing it. They're like, oh yeah, like this makes sense. I'm like, yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Tell me more. Tell me more about how you
yeah.
I came across something the other day that this is reminding me of. And it was a meme. And it specifically said that those who suffer from anxiety are the ones who are being the calmest because it's like, this is just a normal day.
Yes.
And that's what it reminds me of.
Yes, I love that. And it's just I just got off of a 2-hour coaching call with my group course, and every single person, they said, I'm feeling this weird sense of peace and calm. I don't feel like I'm panicking, but I do see everyone around me panicking, and that makes me emotional because we feel for the other people around us. And of course, that's normal. Like, my family is being affected. Like, people are not making as much money at work. They're worried about how they're going to pay their bills. And I just keep reminding everyone that this is happening right now. We're all collectively experiencing this. And it's okay to be afraid that like you're not going to be able to pay your coach, or that you're not going to be able to pay your car note, or you're not going to be able to buy food at the store. It's okay to have that fear. And I think it's the overwhelm is when we sit there and we're like, why am I having this fear? Oh my God, I can't do anything. I have no control. And what I've been telling my clients is that what we're seeing on the outside right now is just the internal society-wise of like how afraid we are to not have control, and also just the inner fear that we have been conditioned to have around money, around everything, just everything. Our societal constructs are being fucking ripped away. And now we're like, whoa, what do? We don't have a sense of grounding. We don't have a sense of foundation. And so something that I feel could be valuable if you are experiencing anxiety right now and you are experiencing these overwhelming feelings is some shadow integration. This is the perfect time. You have the perfect opportunity to look at all of your suppressed emotions and all of the shit that you've been suppressing for so many years. This is the time. And the reason we suppress those things because we know it's going to make us emotional. We know it's going to make us vulnerable. We know it's going to be raw. We know it's going to be so real. And we're so afraid of that because we've been taught that it's not okay and that it's weak. And it's not weak. It's actually part of humanity. It's part of why we came here to fucking teach this to people who are also in that place of disempowerment. So this is the damn time to be stepping into these gifts. Like this is the time. This is the time to like silence and back up and not show up and not sell your gifts. I of course, like maybe make it more accessible or make it a little more flexible on payments just for the time being. But this does not mean you need to like give out everything for free or whatever and validate these fears. It's not your responsibility to validate other people's fears around money. It's their responsibility to validate their fear and look at it and hold space for it and say, this is okay. Fear is teaching me something. And what can I learn from this fear? Where did this fear start? These are all just amazing things to journal through. And guess what? We have all the time in the world.
I feel as if it's going from abundance versus scarcity.
Yeah.
And I don't think the two have never clashed as they are now, because there's the ones that are so positive because they know that this is a stepping stone to get through. And then there are the ones who think that it is the end of the world. And that clash is what's causing the panic. At least from where I'm sitting and observing. And to see the clash that's coming, I really think that this is now the perfect time to do what you say. Lay your foundation for what you want now, because now is the perfect time to take that time out and do it the right way and build that solid foundation to increase your potential moving forward. Because this economic turnover that we are seeing right now may be very volatile, but it's not going to last forever. And I think people don't see into the future like they need to. We are so conditioned to live in the day rather than to see the future as a whole. I mean, even through school, we are not taught necessarily how to plan for the next year or the next 5 years. We are conditioned to plan for the next week, maybe the next month. And I think if we can get past that and really look into the future year and 5 years from now, the potential from setting your foundation now will give you the biggest results that you probably can think of.
I love that. Oh my God, that is so true. Especially when it comes to like, what is it that you want to focus on right now? And a lot of us are just like, well, I don't have a job right now. And next month I'm not going to have a job. And like, but that's not what we're talking about. It's like you said, like 2 years from now, what do you want your life to be? It most likely wasn't what you were doing right now. So choose to focus on that instead and choose to work on that instead. That is so good. Yeah, I love that.
Well, and what strikes me the most is you talk about how we have the ability to set a foundation. And I take a little bit of what Shani said and what you said, Emily, is that what we thought was a safety net and what they have spoon-fed us is that this is a safety net and you need to trust into this is really showing up as a seriously flawed foundational structure. Like, you know, literally like the 3 little pigs, and this is the stick and hay houses. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Coronavirus. And so now it's like those of us who see it as that opportunity, okay, well, what was working before is not going to work. Who was it that says, what the mindset that got you here is not the mindset that will get you where you want to go in life.
Okay.
Had now is not the foundation that you're going to be able to build from. And I love that you talked about the Aquarian age, Emily, because that's what I keep telling people. I'm like, you guys were shifting into a completely different age. Like, this is a whole new way. And the reason it's scary to us is because.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's me? Okay.
Oh no, Ashley.
What? You pooped? Okay, go get the wipes, please.
Y'all,
All right. Oh, wait. Emily, are you okay?
I literally said we're breaking the internet today and it cut out.
We literally are.
I think so.
Oh my God. I wonder if like we're still on Facebook and it's just.
Let me see.
Yeah, this is so crazy.
I will say Zoom has a warning. If you use the Zoom free, it will tell you that it's not connected anymore.
Oh no.
With the phone.
Okay, she's gone, but we're still there, I think. I don't know. How does this work? This system is so interesting.
It is.
I don't know. Hopefully she comes back in, or are we going to have to?
I guess we'll just
we're still
continue the show.
We're still alive.
Oh, we are?
So you said that you are in New York. How is it different from like what she was saying?
Well, I'm in Texas, but I was saying that it's not as the measures that we're taking here aren't as extreme as they are in New York. Which is so ironic. I was supposed to be in New York at the end, like at the beginning of this month, which is
man.
Oh,
that didn't work out.
No, I'm there. It's don't do that. It's crazy here. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm also a restaurant worker. So I was at work Sunday night when we all found out, like, no, I went home early Sunday night and I was in bed and I texted my managers. I'm like, hey, did you guys see what's happening? Do you know that like Tuesday is going to be the last day? And they're like, oh my God, what's happening? And then Monday morning, we were all at work and they were like, all right, so this is the last shift. And it was we were trying to just make light of it, just like, it felt like we treated it like the last day of school for kids,
Yeah.
But it was.
But still, I bet it was hard to just be like, oh, okay.
Just knowing that it's a temporary precaution for now, I guess, will help because you're going to go back. It's just a matter of when.
Right. And like for a lot of restaurant employees, it's like there is no like PTO and like all these other things that are involved in like regular people jobs. So we're just like, we're all talking like, okay, how much money do you have in savings? And like, it was crazy. And like, since we were there for the last day, we were lucky enough to be able to like take all the food home. And when I say all the food, like it was insane. We like closed the restaurant. We were grabbing like bags and bags and bags. And because the only restaurants that are allowed to be open are ones that do takeout, and our restaurant doesn't do takeout. I mean, squid in my freezer now. Like,
hi, Ashley.
Hi. I was epically talking, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, they're not moving. What's going on? Oh my God. I'm like, no, I'm getting my computer clean. I'm like, no. This isn't y'all can just film me, and I don't know what I missed, so.
We were just talking about the differences between Texas, where Emily is, and New York City, where Alyssa is, and how they were basically taking all the food out of where she works because it's not going to last there until they open again. And I just think that's so crazy.
It was insane. Like, that's the only word that I can think of it. But you know what's funny? Like, talking about what you were saying before of just like being like focused on what you want to like having this time being the time where you lay your foundation, literally the entire shift, I'm just like, ain't nobody coming in. We had like 10 customers the entire day. And I was sitting there, I'm a host. So I was sitting there with my like business notebook that I have, my business journal, and I was just doing my mindset work. And people weren't coming in. So I had one headphone in and I had my phone on the iPad that we have for work. And I was just watching my videos for my business program. I'm like, I'm not gonna sit here and focus on the fact that there's no one coming in. I have no money. This is my last shift. I have no money. Like I was just like, nope, I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. And when I left, I was just like, everyone's saying goodbye and we're like, okay, see you in a couple weeks. And in my head, I'm just like, I feel like I'm not gonna come back. I feel like by the time this is all over, I'm gonna be a businesswoman. You know what I mean? Like right now, I'm just like, businesswoman, is that me? But like life coach, that's me, you know, but businesswoman, that shit is scary. So I'm just like, I feel like by the time all this is over, I'm not gonna have to come back here. And that's the mindset that I'm just like begging everyone to have, of just like, go back to your job a changed person. Go back to your job as the woman that you said you didn't have time to be. And you have time for that.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that that's the way that we need to approach it. It's not a fear angle that we need. It's the angle that you're saying of, I am going to do the work to change where I want to be. And I think the ones who commit to that are going to get the furthest. And it's going to create, I think, a massive possibility moving forward, because so many people are sitting there going, I'm not getting paid. I don't have another income. What can I do now? And I think it's going to shift who really wants to start a business, what they want to do, and it's going to open new doors. And I don't think people are realizing this, because I'm in Indiana. And so the first step that we had was they talked about shutting down all private and public K through 12 schools. So they did that. And I think it's up to the school district. I think most are going to stay closed until the first week of April. But then Kentucky, which is the state right below us, is now saying that they're shutting down all daycares too.
Wow.
And so all these parents who are saying, oh, okay, K through 12 is closed, but we have daycare still. And now it's going to be a very real possibility that the daycares are going to be closed as well. And then they won't have that as a fallback on. There were talks about offering childcare at like the Boys and Girls Club. I think they're still going to try to do that, but there's been a mandate signed into action here where 50 or more cannot be in a single location. So I'm sitting here thinking, how are they going to keep a childcare program afloat when there's going to be more than 50 in a given area? And so realistically, it's going to shut down a lot more than what was planned for. And I mean, I think Grubhub and Instacart are already trying to set a pace to do a no contact delivery option so that they can still serve their customers, but it's not spreading the virus. And it's going to be really interesting with the types of precautions that may come in the future. And I've heard that this may not be the only quarantine period that we have to go through. There has been a few articles that have said it could happen until July or August. If that's the case and we come out of quarantine in April, we could be doing it again towards the end of April or May. And so again, there's talks of how are they going to stimulate the economy. I know that there are some states where they have signed things into effect, or utility companies have done it on their own where they're saying they will not disconnect due to non-payment because people can't work. And so it's really interesting to see what's going to happen economically moving forward from here, I think.
Yeah, we're going to have to do a lot of innovating. And I love that. Like, that's what the world needed.
I think it's the greatest time. We've had the internet out for years. but it's becoming used for more and more. And I'm kind of curious to see what opportunities are going to come from it.
Big ones. I think a lot of big things are going to be changing.
Well, it's like all these in-person events have been canceled now. And everybody's talking about all the in-person events. It's like, you could absolutely capitalize on being the person who does the ultimate online events. And now there's nothing stopping you from holding it back. And to me, that that's the real possibility. There is really nothing holding you back from doing it. I feel like the flexibility of the way things happen is going to change dramatically with this.
Yes. And I think that's why so many people are switching. I have seen in more and more groups, I need money. I need a way to make money online. I need to supplement what I'm not making. And all of these are coming from the same place of wanting more financial freedom. And so now it's just getting creative on how are we going to create that financial freedom moving forward.
And you know what's funny, now that I'm really thinking about this whole thing, earlier you guys mentioned how everything that we were taught that's supposed to be stable has now destabilized. And for a lot of women, but a lot of caretakers, they're just like, well, I can't start a business because that's not stable. And I can't freelance because that's not stable. And it's just like, I'm looking around at what's going on right now. Isabella, please. Here you go. I fixed it. I'm looking around at everything that's going on right now. And the only people who are stable are the people who are freelancers, who are service providers. They're the only ones. And they you think of the older generation, like my mom, she's like, oh, but if, yes, baby. Okay, it's loading. She's like, oh, but if you start a business, you're not going to have your 401k. You're not going to have your health insurance. And it's just and now look at everybody else who stayed in their jobs because they were scared. And now look at everyone else who stayed in whatever it was because they were scared. And it's literally only the freelancers who are just we're good. We got this. How can I help you guys?
Yeah, I can't tell you how many people called me fucking batshit crazy because I didn't want a regular job and I didn't care about 401k. I'm like, I'm good. I got a vision. Okay.
Right.
I'm good. I don't need that. And of course, still fear sometimes comes up around oh shit, I might need a savings account, a little more, I might need to start saving more than I am, or I might need to open up on IRA or whatever. Yeah, in the future, I will be doing that, but I'm not going to sacrifice my mental health and my happiness for a fucking job. I told my boyfriend a long time ago, it's kind of funny. I said, I will live in my car before I go get another job that I hate.
Yes.
I will try.
There is a key point that you just touched on, mental health.
Yes.
Why should you sacrifice your mental health to work for a company that sees you as another number?
Mm-hmm.
That's what is shifting as well, because so many people aren't going to get paid even though they have a job. And that's going to boil down to, man, this company doesn't value me as a human being.
Yeah.
And I think that shift is going to also create an influx on what we're seeing as well.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong, but people want to feel valued.
Mm-hmm.
And if a company's not going to value them enough moving forward to help when they need it the most, they're not going to have those loyal employees.
Yeah, that's something that I love seeing in this industry. That's one amazing thing about the coaching industry is I see people with teams and they pay their team members really, really good money. They pay them the value that they really give. And I just remember last year in January was when I quit my full-time job. And I just remember always feeling undervalued. And I was always trying to shift the mindset around that. But somehow, like, it just didn't feel right to, like, blame it on myself and be like, oh, yeah, just do more or whatever. It really, truly felt like the construct and the structure and the system was the problem. And the way that we, I guess, hire on people and the minimum wage and just everything just blows. It's horrible. And I just remember asking, I asked for a raise. I asked to be able to work from home because I'm more creative. I didn't feel like sitting in an office all day was creative for me. And I was social media. I was doing marketing, like all of that stuff. And it just felt like a box. Like I felt like I was in a box and they were just like, no, like, of course you can't work from home. Like, what? They were seriously so taken aback, and I was just like, okay.
And I think that shows how different so many companies are in today's world. Because there are so many companies that are stepping up and trying to give more. Mm-hmm. But then there are the companies that are really pulling back. And I think that speaks highly. I'm not sitting here and saying that every company is bad to work for, because that's not a true statement. Yeah. But the ones that don't value their current employees are probably going to lose more employees that they can't afford to lose. Mm-hmm. And if they do, this could affect us even more economically.
Well, and you know what I think it is when we talk about removing ourselves from those constructs. Book I read, which was The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek, he talks about how that we need to move from that profit over people structure that we have that corporate has transitioned over into. And that's speaking from I've worked for corporations, and I've worked for corporations, and it is always profit over people. It's how can we please our shareholder versus taking care of our employees, which is how we pay our shareholders in the first place. And what we see, and I think the reason a lot of us got into this, I don't know, I mean, I can't speak for you guys, but I can speak for myself, is that I hated being told to do a job, but not being allowed to do it at the same time, if that makes sense. Being told that this is how I had to show up, but then not being allowed to do that, right? Like you wanted me to be a manager, but you don't actually want me to manage these people effectively. And I got tired of being used and abused because I was good at my job and I have a really high work ethic. And I was like, God, if I'm going to sit here and give 60 to 70 hours to someone who could easily replace me the next day, who's going to seriously bitch at me because I have laryngitis that has been stress induced because of this fucking job, then you know what? I'm just going to do my own thing because I'm not going to give you something that you're not giving me back. And it's the same thing I tell people, like when you go to a job interview, the old people gawk at me when I say this, but I'm like, I don't go in there. It's not about, what can I give you? Because I know what you're getting when you hire me. Like, trust me, you are getting a lot. Okay, what are you giving me in return? And I'm like, you need to like be about that way when you go into an interview. And they're like, well, what if they don't hire me? I'm like, if they tell you that they can't respect the things that you bring to the table and provide equally, that is not a company you want to work for. I can guarantee you. I said, and I've worked in enough where they're like, oh, we see that you can do the work of 3 people, so we're now going to entrust you to do the work of 3 people. We're going to slash your fucking labor, and we're not going to give you help. And then we're going to just stare at you like you have a disease when you say that you're stressed out and you can't handle it anymore. And that's 10 years in the food industry. So, yeah, Alyssa, that's like, oh, look, she works really hard. She can work all 4 stations. Let's let her do it on a Friday night with only 2 other people.
Yes.
Yeah. I was a server before. It was tough. I did it for like 4 or 5 years, and I worked in tons of different restaurants because I couldn't figure out each place you can either find a really toxic place to work for, which is normal for the food industry.
Yes, it is.
You sometimes find a good place that's like, oh, wow, like these people are nice. But it doesn't last long.
Well, the turnover is horrible. I was a server too for a while, and I loved being a server. But my reasons for loving being that hostess and that server was because I got to interact with people. I got to solve their problems. I got to have that one-on-one, connection to these people while I am solving their problems so that they can relax. And what I'm finding now is I get to do the exact same, but I get to help them actually move forward. I'm not just solving a problem. I'm actually helping them grow and gain so much more from it for themselves. And so I feel like there's so many missed skill sets that are out there that need to come into play, but people don't realize that they can use it in the online virtual space.
Right.
And I'm wondering if we may actually see some of that come into play here soon.
Yeah. And I also feel like it all messed up real quick. Sorry. I also feel like a lot of the things that we talk about mindset-wise in the coaching industry, people can use in their 9-to-5 jobs. Like when I, for example, when I was a server, I worked at this one bar for like 4 years, and I was kind of like on and off. So I'd be there for a whole season, and then I wouldn't be there for a season, then I would go back. But you better bet your ass I was the best fucking server on that floor, and I was teaching everyone else what I knew about mindset. And I would hear someone say, like, I don't know how y'all make money here. Like, this place just sucks and blah, blah. I'm like, I made $150 last night. I don't know what you're talking about. Like I made $40. I'm like, because your mindset is shit. Like, that's the reason. And of course, I'm not trying to get all aggressive, but
it's true. It's true.
But I feel like, because I was also in that place when I first started in the industry, and then I got into coaching. And I mean, I was a coach for probably 3 years while I was still serving. And I realized, like, I can manifest money on the job at my job. I can like teach other people how to do this while I'm here. I can make the best of this situation. And my managers were always telling me, like, oh my God, like, we love your leadership on the floor and everything. And it's just, I feel like all of this mindset stuff and all the manifestation, all the things that we've been learning for the past few years, we get to teach it on a global scale now. And many companies, many different people can implement it however they want to. And if they eventually want to get into the coaching industry and be a coach, fuck yeah, like, do it. Let's ripple effect this entire thing. But starting where you're at and doing what you can where you are is one of the most important things that I learned. And I'm still learning. Like, obviously, we always want to grow as coaches. We're always like thinking about 10 years, 10 steps ahead. And something that has been so helpful for me, and anyone watching, anyone listening, this will be so helpful for you, is like, look at what's in front of you right now. Look at what's in front of you right now, while also always keeping your vision in mind. But look at what's in front of you right now and make the fucking best of it. For example, right now, I am in the middle of a move. We moved out of our apartment in October. And ever since then, we've been looking for a house. We've been looking for like the right location and everything. We're back and forth between our parents' house. We're at the lake house. We're here. We're there. And I have no sense of like true stability. Where am I going to be taking my calls from today? I don't know. I'll go to the fucking park. Like, I have to take it day by day and actually just be like, today I'll use my hotspot on my phone. It's okay if I don't have Wi-Fi. I was letting that hold me back for a little bit. And we can do that. Even when I worked in the service industry, I let it hold me back from really showing up in my business because I blamed it on like how unhappy it made me. And instead of just like, and I know it's so hard though when you're in it, because it's like, it really does not fulfill anything. It's really not fulfilling.
You just said the key phrase though. It's so hard to see it when we're in it, which is why we lean on so many people to support us through our journeys. That's why we hire our coaches. That's why we hire anybody we work with, because we are so focused in our own box. We need that person outside of the box to help us think outside the box sometimes. Like I just did this with you, Ashley, today, didn't I?
You don't know how many of y'all have like without realizing that you do it. I'm really thankful for that. Like I can just say I'm really thankful for that network. But because it's really hard to see it when you're in it, and it helps to have that person tap you on the shoulder in a metaphorical sense and go, hey, like listen, like you need to come back out here. You come from this spot. Like I can't tell you how many times. The thing, like the book I'm reading now, the psychocybernetics that spoke to me, is like how many times do you find yourself getting into a block? And I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me, even recently, where I'm like going, and it's like bam, and all of a sudden I'm stuck in life, and I'm going, well, because of this, I can't show up here. Because what resonates with me and what you're talking about, Emily, is that true instability. Like I don't live with my kids at the moment because I'm looking for a place, so I'm traveling constantly, and it's like, and I have another job that I do work, and it's like. So it's hard sometimes because you get caught up in the fact that it's like I'm running on very little sleep. Like I'm always running. And some days I get that party where I'm like, I just can't do anything else. And what does it do? Then I don't do anything. And then it's like, then you have someone that comes in and goes, listen, like, just do this. Like, just do this piece. Do this piece that you can do right now and show up for that piece. So it's easy to get stuck in that space. But and I wish this could go on much longer, but we are almost at the end of an hour. And ladies,
it doesn't even feel like that at all.
This will go on forever. But this is the piece where I really want you guys to, if you feel called to, offer something that is going to help people start where they're at now and really kind of hone in on what's truth for them and what's not, because I think what's super important and what we touched on without maybe calling it what it is having discernment to gauge what's actually yours and what's the collective as a whole and not yours. Because that's the other piece of the puzzle is it's really easy to get caught up in the energy that's not yours if you don't understand that play, right? So if you don't understand, like, oh my God, why do I feel so anxious when I'm not normally such an anxious person? That's that place for that deep discovery. So it's that discernment of like, what is truth and what is not for myself? Because that's how I always tell people. It's like, I can only ever tell you my own truth. What I discern as a truth. I don't ever tell you to take that on as your own truth because your truth is going to ring differently. So if you ladies want to tell us each like something that you feel is tangible right now that's going to help people move forward into the direction that we've been talking about.
Yeah. I'll try to keep mine like super short because I know we're coming up on it and I can just go. But something I wrote down the other day, I knew I brought my journal over here for a reason. Something I wrote down, like, I think it was 2 mornings ago. I was on my way to Starbucks. My boyfriend was driving. I was like, where's my journal? I have to write this down. And I put why you're feeling like your business isn't working, like as a leader or as a coach or a healer. And I really only thought this, I think it only came through because I know this is exactly where I was probably a year ago. And I wrote down 3 things. The first one is you are making excuses and validating your victim mindset. So this is like a really hard pill to swallow for some people. I know it was for me. I don't remember which coach of mine brought it to my attention, but it was so hard for me to swallow and look at and be like, shit, like I really make myself the victim a lot. And what really, I won't go into the second 2, but what really helps with that is taking radical responsibility for every single thing in your life. I don't care what it is. I know we've all experienced trauma. We've all experienced very hard things in life. Like we were talking about earlier, where are you at right now? Focus on where you're at right now and take radical responsibility for it. Doesn't matter. It's the amount of money that you're making or the amount of clients you're not attracting, you're focusing on not getting. Take responsibility for that. So that's my tangible advice. Love you all. And that's what I have.
I think I kind of want to hop on what you said too, of like not believing your own excuses. There's like 2 things They're just like you said, not believing your own excuses. Like, I'm literally doing that right now. Like, I've always told myself I can't do anything at night. I have a 4-year-old. I'm a single mom. Like, no one can like watch her, and she's literally just sitting here because I told her I'd give her candy afterwards. Like, so I can clearly do these things. And it's just like, challenge your own excuses every single day before you say that you can't, or before you say it's not possible. Try it out and see if that'll work for you. And then the other thing is just back to what I said before of just like taking this time to evaluate everything. And right now I'm thinking about like a lot of the moms that like usually work outside the house, and they've always been like, oh, I want to work from home. I wish I could work from home. Now y'all are stuck at home with your kids and you're just like, what the fuck is happening? So it's just like, evaluate everything, evaluate what you thought your goals were, and really think about yourself. Like, focus on your self-care right now. A lot of us push that way to the side and we're like, oh, we don't have time. You have time now. Even if you're still working and you're working more from home, that travel time that you used to have, you can do your self-care. And it's just like, just focus on, like you said too, what is right in front of you. Do not sit here and think about like, but what if? And if you feel like you're lost, like vision what the best possible outcome is in a way that feels realistic to you. Like, just earlier today, I was walking in the neighborhood that I want to move to because that's where my daughter's daycare is. And I went to get some bubble tea at the place that would be our local bubble tea spot. And I was just like breathing it in. And I was just like, oh my God, like I was just running back home, like so excited to just focus on what I want to focus on because I was able to have that vision. So I think I said like 5 things in there, but yeah.
No, it's good.
I can add on both of it. I want to challenge people moving forward. What if you took the time you have right now to start from the very bottom and build the foundation, stay consistent? Where could you be this time next year?
Mm-hmm.
If you would stop trying to limit what you can do and just go for it, I think that you'd get even further.
Yeah.
And I really think that now is the time to work on getting a routine, evaluating what you want, planning ahead for the future in case it happens again, and really take responsibility, like Emily and Alyssa are both saying, but also doing the personal growth aspect. Because now is the perfect time to really work on what you need to work on to get where you want to be. Because if you focus on you and you share your journey, you're going to help someone else.
Yeah.
Amen. And I guess I'll say that I think you guys have all summed this up so well. Yes, this is the space to take us out. I think what's being shown, and Emily, I think you touched on this, is how lack mindset we still are, because we are literally seeing from a source of lack. Oh my God, everything's shutting down. There's no toilet paper anywhere. How like, and that thought even hit me, and this is how I knew things were sinking in and that I had to really reconstruct myself. Was like the other day I was like, oh no, do I need toilet paper? And I'm like, oh no, that's not good. But in the sense that like I was succumbing to that. So I agree with all of you, and I think it's a beautiful thing that you all have said is we really get the opportunity to push ourselves out of our own comfort zone that we have grown so accustomed to. And because we have been in it for so long, now the universe is going like, listen, this doesn't work anymore. So, I think what you guys talk about, the visioning thing, that's beautiful as well, because you have to believe that something better is coming along. We don't know what that looks like, but something better is coming along. Something that's different from what we've known, and it's going to be a different norm for us, but that's a good thing. I think what they say, the most beautiful part of the entrepreneurial journey that you can get used to is getting used to the space of being uncomfortable all the time. Getting comfortable with being uncomfortable and being happy in that space, because if you are comfortable all the time, then you are complacent. And if you are complacent, then when this shit happens, you can get knocked down as many times as you allow it to happen. So radical responsibility, like you said.
I love it.
Oh my gosh, you guys. So we are at the end. And this was awesome. Like, I really this was just everything I have dreamed of. This is funny because y'all are making my vision come true.
Hey, Ashley, let's do this again.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. If everybody's cool, I really want to start making one of the shows like an actual panel show. And I think it's important because as we're going forward and they're really emphasizing social distancing right now, which I understand, not spreading the virus, but you guys, in order to make this a better space, we have to come and continue bringing people with us into that better space. Like we talk about, we need somebody else. We're the people that are here now that are going to shake things up. And Angela says, thanks, ladies. Great show. So yeah, I definitely want to do this again. I think this is what's funny. Before we off here, we talk about the evolutions of our business, and I've been privy to see all of you evolve in different ways. Like you are all at much different spaces when I talk to you. And that's cool because I get to see you guys grow, and I'm like, this is really neat. That's also something like I want to walk side by side with women, and I want to watch them grow, and we all grow together. And but what's funny is now it's getting to continue to evolve and show people how to evolve as well. Because we have walked that journey, we now get to show up in that space. So I'm excited to continue to keep evolving. Like when I started all this, I was a solo person, but I always knew I was like, I want to build my brand on collaboration. I want to show that women can work together and we can be successful together. Not only can we be successful together, we can help each other rise and support each other like we've not been shown in the past. And so getting to do this, Deborah says, I enjoyed this. Getting to do this is absolutely a dream come true. And I definitely am down to facilitate more of this. I think if we can come into a space and provide people a space to see that there are many different norms in this world, and that's okay, as long as we focus on what is our truth for ourselves and move in that space. So yes, definitely going to make this like a routine thing as part of the shows. I think it'll now be like one panel show, one highlight show. And that's cool because I still want women to share their stories. But I think what's neat about this, and before we get off here, is how each of you are going through something different, yet there's that tie through that brings us all together. Like, yes, we're all going through something different. We're all in different spaces. We all see different things, but there's still that tie through. We still have those beliefs on how the world can become better and how we can work together to make that happen. And Paula Bross says, hey, I missed the beginning, but happy to see you doing this. Catch the replay, Paula. All right. So I'm going to work on details for that, and I'll be releasing details because I wanted to see how this went and go from there. So if you guys know any ladies that would be down to do panel shows, I am all for it. If any of you ladies catch this on the replay and you're like, oh, I want to do that, holler at me in my DMs. Slide into my DMs. But yes, thank you guys so much. This was freaking awesome. Like this makes me happy. This is when I walk in my purpose. Like,
it's possible.
Yes. This was so much fun.
It was.
I'm gonna say this. Everybody can do this. Everybody can do this. Don't worry, I'm going to show you guys how. I'm so excited. So much good stuff coming up, you guys. So
it's been creeping in my mind. It's been creeping.
Listen, okay, the View and them cannot have live audiences, okay? So when I said a while back, because I said it when I got into the stuff, I said this was it. This is where we were going. This is where the future was going. Podcast has a live aspect to it now. People are going to want to see more original content. I think we are out of the reality phase of this world. Like people don't want to see that anymore. If you've seen what The Bachelor's turned into, I can't tell you. I don't watch it. But what's going on? But people are just like, I just don't want to see this anymore. Like this is getting ridiculous. And I think people want to see this now. So I'm happy to do this. I'm so thankful to you guys. And you guys, we're going to have another guest. It's going to be a regular table session, but look forward to more panel shows within the next couple weeks because I think April is not scheduled out yet. So that's when I'm going to look to start doing everything, actually. And I'll say this, and you guys can add on this before we get on. We're going to go. Now is time. Like, start preparing for April. I'm releasing stuff in April. You have 2 weeks to start getting ready. Like you guys all said. Start doing now, and you will have the opportunity to like really build the foundation you want to be going into 2021. Like I think
Yes.
20, we all thought it was going to be like this big shabam, but I think you always get that 1 year in the midst of a new decade where it's like, okay, let's set the foundation for what the next decade and next generation is going to look like. Like, let's do that. So, all right, you guys, I've taken enough of y'all's time. Oh, thank you so much, everybody. Like, this made my whole night. Thank you guys. If you guys catch this on the replay, #replay, please feel free to share this show. I'm going to drop the YouTube links as well so that you guys can go hook up with the YouTube channel just in case something happens. We can go on YouTube too. So we're not going away, you guys. But see you guys on Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys so much for this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Bye.